When the time came for wrestling to change from the territorial system and then from the cartoonish gimmicks, Vince McMahon spotted it and went ahead with making the alterations. Now he is behind the times and entertains no one but himself. His presence in a controlling position in WWE is detrimental to the company, with time running out on McMahon being in charge. This is Wrestling Up, and here's what will happen when Vince McMahon chooses to step down as chairman of WWE. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. If Vince McMahon stepped down, there would be a power struggle in WWE. As one of the favorites to take over after his father-in-law, fans would want Triple H to be in the picture of what would happen next to WWE. However, when it comes to the game, there's a lot that his political opponents in the company can use against him. There's the fact that he's married to Stephanie McMahon, and many people would use that to argue nepotism and how Triple H is not qualified for the job, never mind that he was the one solely responsible for turning a weird game show into a wrestling brand fans loved in NXT. Ultimately, he faced cardiac issues recently, and given the high pressure job Vince McMahon has, it would be pushing luck if he worked in that position. There are a few backstage officials in WWE who could do a better job than Triple H. If Shane McMahon, Stephanie, and Triple H were all able to get along, then the trio might be able to run WWE. Vince McMahon built his company from a territorial business to a global conglomerate. He built Hulk Hogan, destroyed the territorial system of the NWA, and brought forth big-time pay-per-views like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and more. Despite being the WWE Chairman, who didn't need to humiliate himself, he made himself the nemesis of Stone Cold, building his Mr. McMahon character. In the middle of this, he did many wrong things, but that does not take away from everything he got right. The Mr. McMahon of today slapping Austin Theory is a shell of his former self. In no way is this the same man who tried everything to bring down Austin. Unfortunately, no one can do what he did during his time in wrestling, and that's something fans will have to accept. When McMahon steps away, the company could lose many shareholders. Right now, if Vince McMahon steps down, it may take a few months for stock values to rebound. Given this condition, there would be quite a few stars released. This would hurt people more, as they would think that stars being let go was a further sign of things going wrong. Eventually, it would settle, but the change would be a massive one for everyone to adjust to. Vince McMahon has been in charge for so long that it's hard to believe one day he might not be around. He is arguably the most important figure in wrestling. He has decades worth of experience and brought this industry into mainstream focus. He not only popularized it in the US, but made WWE a global company. For a number of years, audiences have been able to witness the return of older wrestlers. While it's great to see them in action, it isn't fair for them to start headlining shows at the expense of younger talent. But that's almost always the case now. For example, we were able to see Goldberg return after a 12-year hiatus and defeat Kevin Owens and win the Universal title. Many were excited to see him return, but they soon got sick of it when he started to headline pay-per-views and take time away with titles away from the young stars. Once Vince steps down, those nostalgia acts won't occur as frequently. If they happen once in a while, that's fine, but not as a part-time run. Yes, nostalgia acts are raking in the money, but WWE needs to think about developing new stars. Of course, we can't really say this is a guaranteed future until Vince steps down. Hopefully Vince will stay healthy for a long time and stick around to take care of WWE, but it's hard not to think about what the company will be like once he's no longer there. One thing everyone knows about, so much so that it has become a meme outside WWE, is Vince McMahon's fascination with physically impressive wrestlers. While there was a time after the steroid scandal where he pushed the likes of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, it was not something that was an overall policy. While muscled and tall wrestlers have always received preferential treatment in the company. Even stars like Finn Balor and Daniel Bryan, who were fit, were not his favorites, even though they won over the hearts of fans. Now with NXT 2.0, once again the tendency of him and his followers to only care about wrestlers who were tall and well built has has become clear. It's not a choice that helps them when they have so many wrestlers, who despite not being tall are able to command the attention of a crowd. Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, and others have never been given the level of priority they deserved. If McMahon steps down, and some of the corporate stooges he gathered about him also leave, others who know wrestling could bring back talented stars prioritizing ability over physique. Vince McMahon started his journey in pro wrestling in the 70s as a ringside announcer for his father's Capital Wrestling Corporation. He took over in '82 and has been in charge since. Vince can be thanked for bringing WWE to where it is today. However, he won't be in charge forever. In the last few years, he has been grooming his daughter Stephanie and her husband Triple H to take over. His son Shane might also take on an executive role, but he is more likely to do something on the creative side. He might also take over NXT when Stephanie and Triple H run WWE. People are hopeful that the product will look more like NXT once Hunter takes over, since NXT has been the closest to creative in the last few years. While Triple H has credibility, it does not match Vince's. There may be no person who is more qualified or credible than Vince, the founder of the company. When Vince stops working, there are sure to be changes. Considering so many competitors are thriving, things can change for the better or worse for the company's credibility if Vince isn't around. Without him, there are too many variables in play and there could be a financial impact. Still, the biggest loss by far would be the impact it would have on the credibility of the company. Without McMahon front and center, WWE's focus would be on wrestling. The WWE Chairman is well known for his aversion to even the word wrestling and how he prefers the term sports entertainment. The releases, although they are partially due to Nick Khan, are not all that surprising. For a large part, it was known that Vince didn't connect to roster members as he felt many were too pro-wrestling. The bubble McMahon lives in, where he thinks sports entertainment is the only way forward, is a detriment to WWE. Now, if he steps aside, the others who would take his place know there is no such thing as too pro-wrestling. They could keep a balance between the entertainment and wrestling, giving fans the exact sort of dramatic but hard-hitting show they so desperately want. Michael Cole is a good commentator. That statement might be controversial, but it's true. The job that he does is more difficult than most realize. Calling WWE shows with a crazy man like Vince McMahon in his ear is not easy. Corey Graves has talked about what it is like to commentate in that position. It's insane, the amount of information that we're processing all the time because you got the producers in your ear counting you to commercial break. You have to listen to your partners. You actually have to have a coherent conversation with them in the middle of a thought. Someone backstage is feeding you an idea or a thought and it's like, oh my god, it's completely overwhelming at times. On top of that, Graves revealed that there were a lot of times when Vince messes with Cole. My favorite is when Vince decides to do it when you're on camera. I know he does it to Michael Cole to mess with him. It's like working with a toddler, where if you make a single mistake, there are even consequences backstage. If McMahon were to step down and Michael Cole could commentate without the pressure of having to do everything that McMahon says, then it would possibly be a much easier job for him. On occasions where McMahon has not been present backstage, Cole has even shown that he can do a more entertaining job instead of just yelling out catchphrases and being loud. Vince McMahon is more of a detriment to the company's announcement booth than a help, and it would improve greatly were he to step away. Vince McMahon has often said he respects those who have the guts to stand up to him. In reality, people have been fired for doing so much as smiling while Vince is walking by. He has surrounded himself by yes men, as Vince Russo said. They have inadequate people in key positions that got there because of politics, and you were on the outside looking in. And you have any kind of talent whatsoever, they will do anything in their power to keep you away. They will bury you. They will start campaigns online. They will smear your name. They will lie about you. They will make crap up about you, and anybody that is better than them, they just destroy, because they are protecting their spot. When somebody comes in that is better than them, all of a sudden they are exposed. There is no light at the end of the rainbow, and they don't have the right people in there, and they don't have the right people doing the key jobs, and that is evident every time you watch one of their shows. You want to know something that makes no sense? All of these clowns, they are all writing to please Vince. They're all writing to please a 72-year-old man. Unfortunately, 72-year-old men are not your audience. When McMahon takes a step back, many of those stooges won't survive depending on who takes charge. If it's Triple H, many of them will be fired, and there will be a complete overhaul of backstage staff. One issue in WWE has been scripted promos which make the company and its talent feel less authentic. The promos most fans remember are from The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and others like them. With a few exceptions, all scripted promos are lifeless. That's not the impression WWE should be giving the audience. If McMahon took a step away, scripted promos would hopefully decrease. And this is what would happen if Vince McMahon stepped down. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.